This time on Roadkill Garage, the field car is back.
Taking it to one of the most unique drag strips in all of California.
The ocean's over there and over there and over there. We're going to the beach with the Roadkill Garage family. This is the episode where we finally perfect my '56 Chevy known as the field car. At least I hope so. The plan here is to fix it and go on a road trip to a drag strip. But let me give you the background on this thing. It was really a project car from two different MotorTrend shows, Hot Rod Garage and Roadkill Garage. I guess initially Hot Rod Garage had this '56 Chevy and they perfected the chassis on it, but the car was garbage. It was so rusty. And so on an episode of Roadkill Garage, Dulcich and I swiped the chassis out from under their car and put my body on it. Subsequently, we've hopped the thing up, and right now it's got a 500 horsepower 350 Chevy in it. I built that on an episode of Roadkill. It's the so-called COVID 350 that happened during the pandemic. It's got a T56 Magnum 6-speed in it, and it has a Ford 9-inch with 488 gears. Now, we've taken it to the drag strip a bunch of times, and the quickest it ever ran was on an episode of Roadkill, where we dragged it behind Finnegan's super stretchy truck all the way to Redding drag strip here in California, and it went 11:38 at 120 miles an hour. But the thing was, the clutch was flaring every time I bang shifted it. You could actually hear in the episode the engine RPM just run up as the thing was shifted. Well, I fixed that with a McLeod clutch. The thing grabs hard now. And on Roadkill Garage, we took it back to the drag strip to try and perfect the traction. Unfortunately, the throwout bearing fell apart almost immediately, and I never got down track with my new clutch.
I can see the drip coming right out of the center of the bell housing.
Yeah, well, we already know what it is.
Yep, yeah, there's more fluid coming now. It's not the bleeder hose, it's the throwout bearing. This car's done.
That's what we're gonna fix here on this episode. We're gonna tear it apart, and the plan is to drive it from here at Hot Rod Ranch in Lompoc, California, all the way up to Samoa Drag Strip. And if we make that happen, it will also fulfill a goal from a past episode of Roadkill of me visiting every single operational racetrack in California. First thing we need to do is get it up in the air and tear the transmission out of it and find out what went wrong. We're gonna take the hood off just so we get light down in there as we're working on the trans.
Take it away.
Steve, I think I have to just take the shifter off,
okay,
and then we pick it up and pull the trans.
It's gonna be the lap of luxury.
Bink. I guess that's it.
Yeah, don't you have to lower it onto the lock tabs?
If those worked, yeah.
They don't work?
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
This was our clue at the drag strip that maybe it was the throwout bearing. There's brake fluid dripping right here off of the bell housing.
You holding it?
Yep. Okay, why isn't it sliding into the trans is the question.
That's what I'm wondering too.
You know what? It's because the drive shaft's too long. It's bottoming in the trans. That's all you get.
Are you sure?
Think so.
That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, let me pull this one up and out. You can see from the witness mark that it just rides right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have to get this drive shaft shortened by an inch.
Yeah, that's no good. Okay, that's supported enough that I think we can take it apart. Okay, I think I can get the strap across it now.
Okay.
There we go. There, now the shifter's below the floor. That's out, right? We're looking at the throwout bearing up in here now. I'm gonna have to take one hose off of it to clear the transmission out. All right, I'm gonna go down with the trans.
Okay.
Get it out of here. What we're dealing with here is a hydraulic throwout bearing. It's not like the old school stuff that has a fork that is connected to the clutch pedal and that slides the bearing forward mechanically. Remember that what this is doing is pressing on the fingers of the clutch pressure plate so that it can engage and disengage the disc. What this does is it's a hydraulic cylinder so that when you step on the clutch, it pumps fluid in there and it goes, but we're worried that it went.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you see the little piece of O-ring sticking out right
trash. So clearly what happened there is the thing overextended. When it tried to come back, it folded a little O-ring over itself so that it wouldn't retract. So that thing became garbage as a result of us hyperextending it with the clutch pedal. Okay, we're finishing up taking out the bell housing and the clutch to clean it all off because it's all coated in brake fluid. See this clutch disc? I called my guy at McLeod and told him what was going on with the other clutch flaring, and he gave me this one that has ceramic pucks instead of a conventional friction material, although you can see it still has a sprung hub. The thing about this is that it will grab the hotter it gets, whereas an organic material or a typical friction material looking stuff will slip when it gets hot. All right, let's clean this up and we can just throw it back together.
All right, that
Cool.
saves us some money.
Now we're gonna borrow a clutch alignment tool and put the whole thing back together. Check out this flywheel that I got for this car is aluminum. And the thing is, the aluminum flywheel is lighter. A steel flywheel that's heavier has more like stored energy in it for the launch at the drag strip, whereas this doesn't. So it makes it more of a hair trigger on the launch, but the engine doesn't have to accelerate as much mass. And so therefore it literally makes more horsepower because it doesn't have that parasitic loss. Okay, the next thing we need to do is throw the bell housing back on, and I'll show you how we're gonna take some measurements to set up that hydraulic throw-out bearing. Now we're gonna fix the throw-out bearing situation. Now, both the old one and the new one are a piece called Hydromax from American Powertrain. That's the kit that we use to install this 6-speed. You can see how this old one is hyper-extended versus the new one. See how it's much fatter right there than this one is? So I'm gonna install a new one. Now, let me show you what we need to do here. First of all, the issue is you've gotta have a little bit of clearance between the throw-out bearing face and the fingers of the clutch. In other words, when it's installed, this is going to be over the snout or input shaft of the transmission, and it's going to go right here. And you don't want this like riding all the way up against the fingers like that because it will be spinning all the time and it'll wear out really quickly. You want to have about 150 thousandths clearance between the fingers and this doohickey. Now, the way we're going to measure that is I'm gonna put a straight edge across here, and I'm gonna use a dial caliper, the stick end of it, to measure from these fingers to this face. Now remember that the transmission bolts to this face, so let me show you what we're gonna measure over on the transmission. That surface on the bell housing that I just showed you is this one right here. So we're gonna put the throw-out bearing over the bearing retainer here on the transmission, and now I need to measure from this surface to this surface. And then I take that measurement in here, subtract it from this one, and it's gonna tell me the distance from here to that clutch finger. And to adjust it, I have little spacers that are gonna go right behind it right here. And once again, I'm shooting for 150 thousandths. We've got it set up with these shims now so that the clearance from the throw-out to the fingers is 150 thousandths. It's actually 155, and that's what they recommend is 150. So we think we're good. We're ready to throw it back together.
Tell me when to stop.
Okay, keep going.
Well, if you go back that way, maybe you can angle it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Did it. What I'm installing here is the pressure line to the throw-out bearing from the master cylinder on the firewall. Okay. Whoa!
There you go.
That was a little scary.
There, now you
Okay.
can push it inward.
Yes, you can.
David, put a couple of rags under there to sop up that oil.
Okay.
Ah,
Stick is in the hole. Keep going. Wait, I think that's gonna go in right there. Can we muscle it in?
no, we need to,
Like that?
yes.
Well, this is entertaining. Remember the problem where the drive shaft seemed to be bottomed in the transmission and I thought that it was too long? Well, we got to investigating, like looking at witness marks and measuring depths and splines and stuff like that. As it turns out, I bent this yoke. It's twisted from drag strip launches. I actually feel kind of proud of this, to tell you the truth. It's gnarly. I think what we're gonna have to do is throw the drive shaft back in as is. It'll probably survive for highway cruising, and somewhere on our trip, we're gonna figure out how to get like a billet or chromoly yoke or something like that on here. Got it?
Yeah. The drive shaft's in. We're gonna change the oil and top up the transmission, a few other little knickknacks, and we'll be ready to hit the road.
Kind of frighteningly fast, isn't it? Okay, oil in the engine before I forget. The next thing I have to do is bleed the throw-out bearing. The bearing itself comes pre-bled, and of course, bleeding means getting all the air out of the hydraulic system. And all I have to do is get in there and press the pedal about halfway a whole bunch of times, and it'll get the air out of this line.
Everything's back together, and it's time to test it out. We're gonna try the clutch and make sure it works properly. In case it doesn't, I'm gonna lift the car off the ground a little bit so it doesn't drive through the wall if something's wrong.
Okay, that works.
It seems like it works.
Yeah, I was able to kill it with the brakes, so.
Okay.
Just a few more things to do and we're out. The wheels I'm putting on here are reproduction Tri-5 Chevy wheels, and the tire's a Pro Track. It's a 275/60/15. We're changing the tire here because I had slicks on it, and it's probably gonna rain on the way up north. We're going way northern California. Might even snow, and so I just didn't want to drive on DOT legal slick. All right, Hot Rod Ranch was super cool to us as usual. We got this thing cranked out in basically a day.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna hit the road, and our goal is to drive all the way to Eureka, California from Lompoc, California, and go to Samoa Drag Strip, making every single functional drag strip in California something I've been to.
Well, that's quite an accomplishment.
I don't know about that.
I think it's pretty good.
It's a claim to fame. It's a goal.
Yeah.
We'll see if this thing makes it. This is honestly gonna be the first time I've ever really driven this on the street, except for like around the block and up and down. So, interesting. I love this car.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, I gotta learn how to get in with this roll bar.
Oh, yeah.
That's the better technique right there. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I need to get some earplugs, though.
It's loud.
What gear are you in?
6. Really? How fast are we going?
58.
2,000 RPM. It's running at 160 degrees.
Great.
Dead. It just shut off. Won't take gas.
Out of gas?
Probably. We're driving along and the thing acted like it ran out of gas. It just died. The thing is, before we left, I put 6.5 gallons in the tank and it seemed to be full, and we've only gone 50 miles. So we're gonna pull this off and see if there's any fuel in the carburetor.
It's got gas for days.
Yep. Well, it seems to have gas. We were squirting the accelerator pump and it's got plenty. I just like flooded the thing.
That should start it.
That should start. Is it okay?
Seems okay. Does it rev up clean?
That's weird.
Yeah. Maybe it fixed itself.
I don't like mystery problems that
No, I know.
you can't find a solution to.
Yep.
It's like, it's magically okay.
The problem, whatever it is, will tend to reveal itself more and more as we go on.
I'm guessing it's the way it usually goes for us. I guess we're just gonna button it back up and drive in the slow lane. till it does it again.
Seems to be running fine now.
I know, I don't get it.
Yeah.
No, it's doing it again. I wonder if it's all this really hack job wiring we did.
Could be.
I mean, it's wire nutted.
I know.
Hey, there's the ocean right there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I just noticed that. We're on Highway 101 in California, which right here is also the one, which is the historic coastal road.
Just outside of Bislow Beach.
Yeah. Yeah, the free play in the steering box is a little sketchy.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
You'll know it when we careen to our death. It's fine.
Yeah. Totally gone.
It's running bad again.
It is?
Yeah. Something's wrong. Super irritating. We're driving down the highway and you already saw that it died at the side of the road once and then twice when we thought it was out of gas. The thing is, it wasn't out of gas.
No.
It's the ignition is still surging. It randomly cuts out. It's a mess. So what I'm gonna do is completely rewire the whole thing from scratch. And while I'm at it, I happened to have brought another MSD box with me. Why? The last time I missed a shift in this car at Reading Drag Strip, you should have seen it. Boom! Zing! It went right off the end of the tack. We're talking like 8,500 RPM, and that's where these connecting rods want to see daylight. So this has a built-in rev limiter, and Steve.
Yes, I know.
What?
Two-step.
Two-step, which means I can launch off a lower RPM rev limiter at the drag strip if I want to. I'm not gonna wire that in right now. The first thing let's do is let's just see if it's all charging good. Do you mind checking the alternator while I've got it running? Switch it to the other terminal.
I'm afraid the alternator, she is dead.
Ready?
Contact!
All right, this is stupid because our problem the entire time is that we didn't have enough voltage for the ignition system because I had the exciter wire to the alternator on the wrong terminal. There's two terminals on the back of that Delco alternator. So anyway, all of that is solved. However, my like $387 worth of garbage wiring equipment will not go to waste because I still want to install that other box that has the rev limiters in it, but I'm not gonna do it right now because it's freezing and late. Man, I'm an idiot. All right, let's put the hood on and leave. Oh, wow. It does not hook up on street tires.
Was that spinning the tires?
Yes. I like to go from 4th to 6th.
I know. I've noticed that already.
Is it windy?
Cold and windy. I'm freezing. I'm ice cube, man. In case you're wondering, we're in San Jose, California, in a parking garage. Seems to have a lot of room, fairly good lighting, and it's an appropriate venue for swapping out the ignition system in your '56 Chevy.
Can you pull the hood and take them off the coil?
You bet I can.
Thank you. Wonder if I can take out some of this wire and sell it at a swap meet, Steve.
What's going to the swap meet? You could probably sell that ignition box.
Steve, may I have the voltmeter?
Okay.
Okay, now will you turn the key on? Okay, stop. All right, now can you wiggle the wires on the back of the ignition switch?
There's wriggling.
Yeah, this is solid. Okay. Here's the new MSD box I'm going to install. It's a 6AL2. I didn't think my old box had a rev limiter, but it did. But what this has that's above and beyond the baseline rev limiter is what's called a two-step. It's called that because it has two rev limiters. The first one is high speed. I'll set it at like 7,600 RPM, and that just keeps it from over-revving when I miss a shift, like I've done before, and the thing went to like 8,500. The second one, which is called a two-step, is the one that can be activated with a wire on your clutch pedal or maybe a button, and when you're at the drag strip starting line, you just floor the gas, and the two-step rev limiter comes up to, say, 3,500 RPM for the launch, and then that rev limiter releases when you release the clutch and lets the thing go down track. So this is gonna help me at the drag strip. Here's what just happened. I'm in the middle of installing this box, and mall cop came and got a tow truck coming for us, and so I butchered the thing together worse than I had it before. Steve's holding a couple of wires together, and we're gonna get out of here and go someplace else before we get towed.
Nice work, Driver.
Thanks. All right, now we gotta go somewhere else.
We're almost incarcerated while we were working on the car in a parking garage a couple of blocks away, so we had to make a super hasty retreat. David just kind of wrapped a few wires together, got this thing started, and we moved to here, another questionably legal place to work on the car. But while he's finishing up the wiring inside and tidying it all up, one thing I noticed, the steering was super loose when he was driving the thing around, and he had to look underneath and notice that where the pitman arm connects to the drag link, there's a lot of play, but fortunately, all I have to do is pull a cotter pin and adjust it with the screwdriver, put it back together, and I'll have that done before David gets done inside. All right, all done. David's got the ignition all wired up with the new box. That part's all done. I tightened up the steering. Hopefully that's gonna make it work a little bit better. We'll find out once we hit the road, and that's gonna be right now.
Ready, Steve?
Yeah, let's go, man.
I'm super excited.
It's never sounded better.
Oh, the steering is much tighter.
Really?
Yeah, look at that. That's hardly any play at all.
Wow.
Yeah. Up. Dead.
No.
Yes. Okay, what did I do?
I don't know, but it's not good. I thought we were on our way to San Francisco.
Me too. I crimped everything with actual crimps and heat shrinked them and changed every wire.
Yeah, all that's got to be good.
Why did it die?
I don't know.
Now I'm like, it's in my head again now. Well, this is enraging. After all of that time I spent rewiring everything, it just died on me. So I'm troubleshooting again. What the problem seems to be is that this switch has power to both sides, whether it's on or off. So I am troubleshooting that.
I'll check continuity through that switch.
Yeah, put it on ohms.
I already have. 12.13.
How does this have power?
That has power.
How?
Okay, that's your problem. That shouldn't have power.
How does it? Here's the crazy thing that's going on. With everything disconnected except for the main power wire, the trigger wire to the MSD, the one that's supposed to be switched on and off of 12 volts, has power itself. We cannot figure that out. I don't see any troubleshooting like that online. I had this thing grounded, the main ground up under the dash, just to make dead certain positive. We're now running a big wire all the way back to the battery, just in case that affects it somehow. I'm kind of just grasping at straws now. I don't really know what I'm doing. All right, Steve, I'm gonna try it again. It's not blinking.
Do we have 12 volts coming off the switch into the...
Yeah, the switch still has power when it shouldn't. Is there something I don't know about how that works? I don't get how that has power at it at all.
I don't know. It's not supposed to.
It just makes no sense.
We're still being plagued with ignition system problems, and just to facilitate troubleshooting, we're gonna put the old box back in and see if this thing will kick on.
You know it's gonna fire right up, right?
Yeah, I know.
You know, the worst thing is gonna be to be on the Bay Bridge and it dies.
That would be a catastrophe.
Right. Dulcich, this is actually one of the most shameful roadkill moments of all time, and I'm not at all happy about it. We can't get this thing fixed. I don't trust the car to drive across the Bay Bridge here with no shoulder to get on. And so our production guys actually got a truck and trailer, and we're gonna be dragging the thing through San Francisco and trying to fix it again tomorrow morning. This was supposed to be a road trip, not a tow trip. This spark problem is driving us nuts, and I cannot figure it out. We've been through it 100 times. I don't know if the failures here are something with the alternator, something with that Odyssey battery. I can't imagine, but we're done. We're gonna get rid of the ignition box entirely and run an HEI distributor that has a module in it, and all it takes is one switched ignition wire and a wire out to the tach, and that's it. All right, so we're gonna install an HEI here in the parking lot at Smothers Performance. Now, this has the bronze distributor gear that we're gonna have to change to the other distributor, and the reason for that is this has a solid roller camshaft that's billet, and if you use a regular distributor gear, then it will eat the camshaft, so you need a softer one so that doesn't happen. It doesn't go this way, does it? I guess it does.
No, it goes the other way.
That's what I thought, but there's no hole the other way. It just, look, see? That's not right. Here's more frustration. Distributor gear problems. See, Chevrolet from the factory used a distributor shaft diameter of 0.491 inches, and the aftermarket typically uses 0.500 with the exception of the HEI distributor that we bought that is the stock diameter. The problem with that is that we have to run the bronze gear to be compatible with our camshaft, and this is a 0.500 off our old MSD distributor. So therefore, we had to go find a distributor that did have a 0.500 shaft, which turns out to be this ready-to-run Pertronics unit. And also, you'll notice this doesn't have the HEI cap or the large diameter. That means that this will work with our old spark plug wires, so we don't need the new ones that we already bought. And it also will require the MSD Blaster 2 coil that we already bought. And hopefully it's correct.
We're driving.
Where do I go?
Take a left at the light.
It just died. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Clearly, it is not the MSD box at this point.
Don't kill the battery.
Yep. Is the road clear?
Yeah, you're clear.
All right, the video guys are pushing us now. Those guys save our life all the time because this thing just died again. Obviously, this is a problem with the car and not the ignition system.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. The only thing that has not changed is where I have that power wire connected for the on-off switch. That's the only thing that we haven't changed. Well, and the battery.
Where's it coming from?
It's on a bus bar right there that is fed by the battery. This is insanity.
Yeah, I know.
It's unreal.
It sucks.
Ah! It's Friday. We have killed 5 ignition systems on this thing. I don't know about you, Steve, but I am beat even though we've been trailering it.
Well, I'm just gonna start working on the drive shaft instead or something like that.
You do that. I'm gonna try and make the ignition happen because see, this is the very last day that we can get into Samoa drag strip up the street. It's the only day that they could rent it to us, so we have to make it happen. And once I set foot on that property, I will have been to every operational drag strip in California. It's a 1/4 mile track, and you may have heard the expression, if a guy goes off the end of the track, they've got like a sand trap down there, and often people will say, oh, he went into the beach. Well, here, if you go into the beach, you go
literally into the beach.
The beach. Actually, the ocean is right there. We're on a peninsula that, as I understand it, was built by the U.S. Navy. As a matter of fact, this used to be a blimp training base, so that's pretty cool. There's an airport right there. There's a drag strip right here. What I'm gonna do is crawl under the dash and start wiring for the box. Steve is underneath it right now, pulling the drive shaft out, because remember, we had that twisted yoke that goes into the transmission, so we got a chrome ollie one. He's gonna fix that and the U-joint.
I was hoping to just change the yoke, but it turned out the yoke didn't match our U-joint, so we had to go out and get a combination U-joint with the right size for the yoke and the drive shaft both. So we've got that. That means I'm gonna have to take the cross out of this part of the drive shaft and then replace the whole thing. So this assembly is in opposite order of assembly.
As you can imagine, I've been calling everybody I can think of to try and solve this problem. And finally, coup to Dave, who works out of Hot Rod Ranch, where we started. And he's like, I've seen this before. I have an idea. And here was his thought. It could be the alternator, and here's why. You know, an alternator makes alternating current, and that it's converted to direct current for the car's use. The way it does that is with a positive and negative diode trio. And he said if one of those diodes goes bad, it can leak AC into the system, and that will kill a transistor like that. What I'm gonna do is disconnect the alternator from the system entirely, both the field wire and the charge wire, so that it's isolated. And I will run the thing down track that way if I don't get another alternator out here in time. Man, it would be great if that's the final answer on this thing. We would all learn something.
You've just witnessed a miracle happen. I installed a new yoke and new U-joint using nothing but a hammer and a pair of needle-nose pliers right here on the drag strip wall. So I'm gonna go get this installed, and we'll be running in no time flat.
And finally, an MSD box that will go to its forever home. Should plug it in the right way. Ta-da! Now this one doesn't have a rev limiter, which is kind of a bummer, so hopefully I don't miss another shift and rev this thing to 9,000 RPM. Okay, that is gonna live, not there forever, but it's gonna live forever. Haven't had to do this by hand in many moons. The time is coming. There's no way this can fail. I feel this time we showed you how to do the right thing the wrong way, which is backwards from our norm. But here we go. Feels like the clutch drags a little bit now. Okay, as a reminder, the best pass ever with this car was at Redding Drag Strip in California, and it was 11:38 at 120. Later on, the car ran 121. We are 23 feet above sea level here, so you'd think the air would be really good and it'd be fast, but it is humid. And water drains can slow you down because water in the air does not burn. Honestly, I only really care about getting it all the way down the track clean.
Let's go! That's the way you get some heat in the slicks, right there.
All right, I don't know how to hook it with this new clutch. We'll see if I can do it.
It's moving pretty good. Had a little bit of a bog off the line, but what's our time gonna be? 11:54. Okay, that's not bad.
All right, I granny shifted it, but we made it all the way down. Yeah! That's pretty much all I need for the day, to be honest. Woo! All right, we can go again, and I'm gonna power shift this thing. I gotta be honest, the ignition is still acting up a little bit. I have no idea what I'm doing with that, but I'm going right back to the staging lanes. Okay.
Yeah, dropped down to about a 12:34, so I think we may be running low on time. Have a little bit of a discussion with David and see what he wants to do.
How do you miss fourth gear? That thing went like 9,000 RPM. But man, I was bang shifting before that. Ah, wow, that was bad. I hate not having a rev limiter. How do you miss fourth? Man, I'm surprised valves didn't touch pistons, or maybe they did. That was bad. How do you miss fourth gear? Man.
That's sounding pretty tough now. Well, okay, it ran the 1175. That wasn't as good as his first run down the track. I'm not sure why. David might have a better idea than I do. I didn't really see anything obvious going on there.
My mile an hour was down based on the tack. I spun it off the line that time. Hey, but you know what? The field car is running at Samoa Drag Strip, and that was our goal, and man, did we fight for it, and it seems like the ignition is working. All right, I've been super excited just making pass after pass. The clutch seems to be dragging just a little bit. That's my excuse as to why I'm missing shifts. It's not disengaging all the way. I'm gonna have to go back to granny shifting. It's running about what I expected. I think I'm into mid-11s. I'm just so stoked that I've made a pass at Samoa and the car is running clean. It's all I needed. Wow, what a week.
Well, 11.7.
I can tell by the tack that my mile an hour is slowing down. It's making less horsepower. It's hot, and the temperature is rising here, and the humidity is gonna keep it from making as much power as it did when I was running down in the desert. The ignition just cut out. That is weird. Still doing it. And it just died. And I think I broke something in the back. Well, what do you think?
Well, you got a pretty strong headwind that you're fighting. For one thing, and it bogged off the line. It probably wanted another 500 RPM.
It's weird. I launch at 3,800. It's all the clutch release.
Yeah.
So what's my best of the day?
1154.
Okay. I mean, that's not bad.
No.
1138, 1154. The ignition is still skipping a beat.
It is?
It is. Something is still happening.
Okay, well, I mean, we pretty much eliminated everything but the battery, so.
Yep. All right, I'm calling it good, Steve. I
Okay.
beat up the field car like I never have before, and it gave back. I was about to say it's always a fun day with the field car, but we just had 4 not fun days with the field car.
Yeah.
But today, pretty awesome. And I got down the track clean in this thing, even if it wasn't my best ET. Ultimately, 1154 at 118.39.
It was enjoyable to me, not the grueling part of trying to troubleshoot and fix something that was really
That's
mysterious.
what I mean. That was the 4 days of troubleshooting. Plus, we still have issues. Poof! Movie magic. It is 1 month later, maybe even more. You just watched us take my 56 Chevy on like a great road trip that went straight in the toilet because we killed a whole bunch of ignition boxes, we killed a distributor, but we finally had that glorious pass at Samoa Drag Strip where I thought we had found the problem with that alternator. And then I had the epiphany of what the problem probably was the whole time. Solid core spark plug wires. As it turns out, this car has solid core wires on it, and I'm gonna explain all of that to you, but basically they make interference or electrical noise, which kill ignition boxes. So that seems to be our issue, but we're back here at the Roadkill Garage to troubleshoot that. And also, do you remember we have the problem where the clutch doesn't fully disengage?
Yeah.
Which is why I was missing shifts. But when that happened, this thing over-revved evil. So spark plugs out and compression test it first. Super extra rich. Now we have all the spark plugs out and we're gonna check our cranking compression. I've got my tool right here. It's the type where you just press a rubber tip into the spark plug hole. And as Steve cranks the engine with the starter, the piston's gonna move up and down, blow air into the tool, and has a one-way check valve so it doesn't come out. Therefore, the needle will stay in position and show us our peak cranking compression. And I suspect we're gonna find one hole that's lower than the rest because of a leaky intake valve. Well, that one's low. That one was only 100. That's a bummer.
That's no bueno.
No, that's no good.
Yeah. Okay, here goes.
Okay, that one is a good 150.
Okay.
Oh, that's junk. That one has 60.
Oh,
We got problems.
we do.
Go. Also 60. I mean, it's FUBAR, right?
Yeah. At this point, any further testing is strictly academic.
Yep. Here's the point where I might as well show you what I think killed this whole episode for me. Watch this. I am completely dejected right now because I ended up trashing my engine for no reason, for the simplest thing ever. Let's get to the crux of the problem in this entire episode. It all comes down to solid core spark plug wire. These are non-suppression spark plug wires. They have a solid metal core in them. The problem with these is that they make a lot of electrical noise and it can destroy transistors in ignition boxes like that. I would have sworn to you that I'd never bought a set of solid strand wire spark plug wires in my life. And yet here they are in the car. All I can think is I was trying to be retro or something like that, but I'm pretty sure that's what destroyed all these ignition boxes, that aftermarket distributor, everything. Here's the deal. Let's look really closely at the metal core of this thing. You can see it is nothing but stranded copper wire. So that has no radio frequency suppression or electrical noise suppression in it at all. Now that can be like when you're driving an older car and you've got the stereo on and you can hear it buzzing with the engine RPM. That's the same thing. It's noise from the spark plug wires. The manufacturers went to address this problem a long time ago as it relates to radio noise, and they made what's called suppression wire. This probably says that on it. Yep, it says 7mm suppression wire. This is what we used to call rag core when I worked in the ignition industry. All it is fiberglass strands that are impregnated with carbon so that it has conductivity, but it has enough resistance to it that it ends up not making that electrical noise. After that, there's also a type that is almost like a rubber core in the middle of it. You can see that that's like super flexible and bendy and stretchy, and once again, impregnated with carbon to make it conductive. But now we can go into the modern way of doing things with a high-performance spark plug wire. This happens to be an MSD 8.5mm superconductor, and it's what's called a spiral metal core. It has a metal section and some other sheathing and things in it, and then it has a wire that is wound around it. Here's an example that I've actually pulled apart. See that wire right here that I can pull off the center of that spark plug wire? That is wrapped around. I don't even know how they make it. It's kind of crazy. But what that does is it suppresses that electrical noise that causes radio noise and that kills MSD boxes. So obviously I need to change to that on that car. I'm pretty sure this is the problem we've had the entire time, which is insane, because like an $80 set of spark plug wires just cost me at minimum a pair of cylinder heads on this thing, because after it killed ignition boxes, we installed an ignition box with no rev limiter, then we had the clutch problem, I missed shifts, and I swear this thing went to like 10,000 RPM and valves kissed pistons. And so that's what we're gonna go deal with now. I hate this episode.
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know what else to say. It's really irritating.
at least we know what was going on.
I know.
That's the one plus.
Finally have proof positive.
But your engine is junk.
Steve, you just stumbled into motivation for me. On one hand, I hate this episode because it's moronic that we didn't troubleshoot the thing properly and that we ended up scattering parts for no solid reason.
Yeah.
That's not even roadkill comedy, it's just dumb. However,
Yes.
it now gives me a reason to take this thing apart, make it bigger, better, faster, louder, and run 10s naturally aspirated with a 350 small block.
You got this, Freiburger.
That's a solid goal, and if
Yeah.
we do it, you'll see it in an upcoming episode of Roadkill Garage.